What's up, you guys? Thank you for clicking on this video. And by the way, if you hear like a weird little noise off to the background, it sounds like somebody is cleaning their car outside with a vacuum, so just be wary of that. But anyway, on the topic of this video, as you could tell by the title, the Q situation, the studio series release. I dropped a video on this a few days ago, giving my thoughts on it. And since then, I've realized some things about this release and have kind of changed my mind a little bit. So some people pointed out to me in the comments that I said in the video that this guy doesn't have clear plastic, which I'm grateful for. It's just solid black plastic, or the screens are painted black, which is something I advocate for, just to make for a more sturdy figure and you don't see stress marks or basically cracks in clear plastic joints after transforming it a couple times. But people have pointed out to me, and since I've looked in on the images and zoomed in on it like the ultra nerd that I am, I realized that it is clear plastic, and it's a lot of clear plastic on him. A lot of tabs and joints for the windshields and windows and whatever. So I gotta kind of retract a little bit of what I said in that video a little bit here. It kind of goes against a lot of what I was rooting for on that release. It seemed more solid to me since there was not going to be any clear plastic, but now I'm wrong, and I'm looking at this completely different here. It's just the same old stuff with these Studio Series Deluxes. The same old, we're going to do clear plastic because either it's cheaper, or they got to license it to a company, or they're trying to listen to fans from 20 years ago because of the 77 Camaro Bumblebee situation, which if you guys don't know what that is, if you're too young to remember, it's because the Hasbro release of the 77 Deluxe Camaro Bumblebee from the 2007 movie was painted windows with the yellow plastic, and for some reason collectors back then complained that it looked cheap, it wasn't realistic enough for it to be a movie line figure. And the Takara version had clear plastic windows, which resulted in a lot of that section of the figure being molded in clear plastic, and that version of the mold is basically a ticking time bomb. Since then, Hasbro and Takara have kind of taken it into consideration even more to do deluxe car bots with clear plastic, because a certain amount of fans back then deemed it cheap or unrealistic if we didn't get clear plastic windows with our deluxe car bots. And you would have thought 6-7 years prior, around that time, collectors would have learned better because of all the complaints of the clear plastic issues on the RID 2001 Car Brothers back then. But no, for some reason, I don't know if it was because movie collectors were new to the game back then and they had no idea the RID 2001 car bots even existed, which kind of makes sense. That would probably explain a lot of people complaining about that, because if I remember correctly, a lot of those YouTube videos that I used to watch back in the day reviewing that and making that sort of complaint were fans who were just getting into the franchise that same year with the 2007 movie coming out, just buying those toys, and those are the first sort of exposures that they had to Transformers toy product. So it would make sense that they wouldn't know anything about clear plastic dangers over the last decade since back then when they started using clear plastic more heavily on figures during, I think it was like G2 or Beast Wars. So I don't know, maybe that's a correct theory, but I feel like ever since then, they've really upped their clear plastic use on deluxe class car bots especially, and we're kind of paying for it with certain releases ever since the last 18 years. So, I don't know, man, just based off of that alone, it makes it not even worth it to me. I mean, it already looks like it was sculpted and painted with a Scout Class $10 figure and not a $25 deluxe, and then on top of that you throw in a bunch of clear plastic on it, brother. Come on, man. It's kind of, I'm not liking it, you know? It's something that I think about a lot with certain releases that have clear plastic. I love the RID 2001 Car Brother figures. I think for $10 back then, you got a lot in terms of articulation, the vac metal paint, you got rubber tires. At the same time, all that clear plastic does not do any good on those releases, And it's the same thing I think about anytime a Studio Series figure has an excess amount of clear plastic. I love me some Studio Series Dino, Jolt, Bumblebee, or Sideswipe, but they got a lot of clear plastic on them. And I see some stress marks on some of those clear plastics. And I've only transformed all of them 3, maybe 4 times. Maybe 5, I don't know. But it's not been a lot over the last however many years I've owned those molds. So it's very alarming anytime I see a new release that has it, and rightfully so. And I know for a fact I'm not the only one out there that thinks of this. Even the designers are aware. I remember Evan in an interview a few months ago with, I think it was 6.0, he was talking about how it was like a quick mention. He didn't like make a whole discussion about it. He was talking about how clear plastic be damned, they try to make figures last longer, so they know that clear plastic is considerably weaker than regular solid plastic. So, I don't know. And they keep using it. I don't know if it's like a licensing thing with the car companies, if they have to use clear plastic or not. But if I remember correctly, there has been certain car bots within Studio Series that use solid plastic windows. Now, I may be wrong. I cannot think of an example off the top of my head with this recording. I feel like they've done it before in Studio Series. So if that's the case, if I'm right on that, then, I don't know, that kind of goes against certain stuff that I'm thinking about right now as to why they do it. But, I don't know, guys. It's just very strange to me. I really hope, like, this is probably like my 3rd or 4th video talking about clear plastic extensively over the last couple years of doing this channel, and it feels like they're just not slowing down on clear plastic use for whatever the reason is. It's just annoying to me, and I feel like the complaints of clear plastic and the concern of it has just only grown over the last few years. And the fact that Hasbro really hasn't slowed down in using it, and they even made it a weapon gimmick during Legacy Year 1 in 2022, is very telling to me. So, I don't know, I don't mind it for weapons. In terms of actual joints on the figure, that's when it's a problem to me. But that's basically the main thing that I've really retracted my statement on with this Q. And it really makes me think that maybe I should just wait for a listing for like an $80 or $100 Dark of the Moon 2007 or 2011 Deluxe Q, and just get that version where there really isn't much clear plastic on him at all. Or I'm pretty sure there's not clear plastic on him to begin with. It might be painted black windows, which is what I was expecting. That's what it looked like on the new release. But again, I was wrong, unfortunately. But I don't know, it kind of makes me rethink this whole situation. It's a figure that I've been waiting for years on, and it just doesn't really live up to just this $25 deluxe standard to me. But I don't know, maybe once we see some more reviews, we see it in hand, we see more images of it in hand, and it's not just bland Hasbro stock images, maybe it'll make the figure look better, and the clear plastic that they use is a bit more sturdy for this release, because I will say Hasbro's clear plastic has gotten a tad bit better with certain releases over the last few years. I don't know if they're trying different techniques or if it's all in our heads, but I and a lot of people have noticed that some of the releases with clear plastic, not all, have had better quality with it. But who knows at this point. I just hope that this figure is better in hand with reviews, and I don't feel obligated to spend a bunch of money trying to track down the original 2011 release. But I don't know, time will tell in the next few months when this figure inevitably drops. But yeah, guys, let me know down in the comments below. How do y'all feel about this Studio Series Deluxe Q release? All my social medias are linked down below, including my email. If you guys want to hit me up about business inquiries, or if you want to message me about whatever, or if you want to commission a diorama from me, because I make dioramas for people for their stop motions, photography, or irregular display shelves in your homes, you could either hit me up on any of my social media accounts, or you could just email me and we can work out a deal. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. Catch y'all in the next one. Bye!